A single mom success story. There's just something about when you hear about somebody who's been through what you're going through right now, and they came out on the other side and they grew and they improved and it all turned out okay. It's inspiring. I think that's why we love those stories about the Olympians so much, the ones that have come from the worst scenarios to win the gold medal. And we're like, oh, give me more of that. This is the single mom version of that for you on the Brave Single Mom podcast. I've got a fellow client. Courtney is with me to share her story of what she has been through in her single mom journey and how she has overcome. She is part of our Metamorphosis Method coaching program. She and I did one-on-one coaching, and I'm not taking any credit for this because she just did all the work. She did all the things and absolutely set herself and her family up for success. Courtney, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
This is really new. This is the first time I've had a fellow client on the podcast, someone that I have worked one-on-one. And Courtney, when I first met Courtney, I just had to say, I think when we were on the phone and you were considering as the Metamorphosis Method and having like a single mom coach for my single mom life, like something that would help you. And I remember you were in a tough place.
Yep.
And just needed somebody to find hope. So could you take us on where you were like 12 weeks ago when we first met?
Yep. Yes, I was definitely in a tough place. So going through a divorce, a very sticky situation, and I had a 4-year-old son.
Mm-hmm.
I had just started kind of dating and got pregnant with, was an unexpected baby, but still a miracle. Very excited about it.
Yes.
But at the time I was like, oh my gosh, getting divorced. I have a 4-year-old. Now I have this new baby coming. I wasn't sure what was going to happen with my job, my finances, where I was going to live, anything. So there was just so many unanswered questions and I was extremely overwhelmed and I had kind of no ability to see what the future was going to hold for me, which was a very scary place for me, just trying to figure out how it was all going to work out. I knew there was a way, but I didn't know how to get to that way myself.
I remember that conversation when she told me everything was going on. And I said, well, Courtney, you're a hero. I'm like, I happen to think that you're a hero, that you're like, yes, I am expecting again. And I am excited about this because your baby girl's a kind of a miracle, isn't she?
Yes. Yep. I had 3 miscarriages after my son, and I had kind of just accepted that I probably wouldn't have another child, which was really sad for me, especially with, getting divorced and just not being in my 20s anymore. So I kind of was just really accepting and coping with the fact that, I probably won't have a second child. And then I had a moment where it was like, okay, at the time I thought God was answering my prayers. No, but he was just saying not now and not the way you think. So yes, my baby girl is a little miracle. The timing was a bit complicated, but she's definitely a miracle.
We're never ready. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think you're an absolute hero. So I want to go to like the step-by-step of your experience of metamorphosis. But first, like give me the overall effect, like where you were on that phone call when we were talking about, do you want a coach to help you walk you through this single mom life on how do we do this?
Yep.
To where you're at now in 12 weeks.
So I can even take it a step further back. I think about the message on Instagram that I think you sent a message with something like, hey, how are you? How are you doing? What's your story a little bit? And I thought I was chatting with a chatbot. And I, at the time, was like probably crying daily. I just couldn't really keep it together. I would keep on a brave face for my son and then, put him to sleep and just like cry. And then I'd put a brave face on for work and that would end and then I'd cry. So anyway, I got that message on Instagram and I just unloaded my whole story in detail. And then your responses led me to know, okay, this is a real person. And now I've just like unloaded all these personal details. But you said, would you mind if I give you a call? So then we hopped on the phone and I think we were both in tears talking about, you shared your story, I shared mine. And I just was in a place like so many unanswered questions, so much
Yeah.
uncertainty about my life, and feeling overwhelmed, and like everything I was going through was so difficult, and like this is going to be my life now. Everything's just going to be difficult. So now, after going through the program, I'm so excited about my life. I'm so happy. Like, I've already achieved so many goals. I have so many goals set so far into the future. And I feel like my situation, wasn't a curse, it was a blessing. And,
Yeah.
the program and the support and everything, I feel supported too. I've met so many
Good.
other people in the program that just
Yeah.
have gone through similar things that I can lean on.
I think that's so much of what I needed when I first became a single mom. I was like, I didn't know anybody else that was single moms. And I was like,
Yep.
oh my God, I feel so alone. I think there's so much power in having that support of somebody that understands what you're going through. That's why we have like this community and that's why we do things together. So when we go through the step-by-step process, let's like go through the beginning. Like, did you think I was crazy when I said, okay, we're going to compare this to a butterfly. And when we start, you're going to create like a vision and a mission for your life like you were a corporation. You're like, oh my God, what did I get in myself to? Or were you into that? Like, tell me.
I was excited about it. And I think actually what resonated with me was like the butterfly. Like, I know the butterfly is there, but I definitely feel like the caterpillar or like crawling
Yeah.
around in the dirt right now. I don't know like
Mhm.
where I'm going and how I'm going to get there. Um, but yeah, I think I felt that was probably the first glimmer of hope, is that, before that I had no blueprint, or I was like, this is
Yeah.
just, I was in this phase of like, I just have to accept this is what it is for life.
Yeah.
And you were like, no, there's so much more. And like, here's how we can start getting there. So I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. And I was
Yeah.
really just willing to do anything to be anywhere than where I was. So,
Yeah. So we created a vision and a mission for Courtney's life. And then we set 3 goals.
yep.
So I'm a big nerdy goal setter because I think it's super important. Otherwise, where are we going? Like, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
We're not just guessing. So, because um, I heard this quote the other day that time is undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Like you cannot time will go. It does not pause for anyone. So
Yep.
you don't really have later. You have now. That's all you. So we created a 3 month, a 6 month, and a 1 year goal. And could you go into tell me about your 3 month goal and how we hit it?
Yes. So my 3-month goal, one of my biggest fears with learning I was pregnant unexpectedly was I knew that I had unpaid maternity leave and I had nothing saved up. I was just, going through a divorce. So, funds are really tough in that phase.
Yep.
And so my 3-month goal was really to save the amount of money that I needed to survive, like, and have the time that I really wanted with my baby girl. I didn't
Yeah.
want to be off for 2 weeks and have to go back to work because I couldn't afford to be off longer.
Right.
So that was a really big deal. And we kind of made a list of like little changes I could do. But then the other things, like I really advocated for things at work with my what I made for my income, like different sort of opportunities I had to make more money, different incentives, and actually worked with my HR on changing my pay plan a little bit so that there were opportunities to make money when I was out. So we did kind of a whole 180 where I went from
Yeah.
feeling like, how am I going to survive when this baby is born? Like, I'm going to have to go back to work when she's a week old. That's so sad. To now, I'm like totally comfortable taking 12 weeks off as long as I can at my job. So,
Yeah. So I tell moms there during the program all the time, if you're thinking about it, it's not, I don't give you some kind of affiliate marketing plan to make more money.
hmm
Really, it's just some structure to be able to figure out a way to increase your income. So what about when we talked about, so we talk about setting a goal and then just making a list of everything you need to do to achieve that goal by
yep.
the date that we pick. And then instead of getting so overwhelmed and doing nothing, choose one brave thing a day. How
hmm
did you implement that? Explain to me, did you think I was crazy again? And how did it work
Yeah, I
for you?
think it was that whole concept of Kaizen, just getting 1% better every day and choosing one goal every day. And for me, that made everything so much easier to handle because thinking about the big goal was like, gosh, I'm at 0 right now and I want to save this much. Like, how am I going to get there? But chipping away at it and doing like one little thing a day it was such a snowball effect to the point where some days I would just have planned, this is going to be my one thing today. I'm going to write out, um, like one of the things you talked about was what I eat every week and trying to make some of the meals the same every week. So I always know exactly what I'm going to eat, less small decisions. I know I can budget for it. And so I just started with breakfast and then breakfast and lunch and then breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Yeah.
But I found that even when I was just trying to do one thing, some days I would do 5 things. And then I would get to the end of the week and I would have so much accomplished. And every small victory just got me more and more excited to keep going towards big victory.
Okay. That's good. So we did that, and you hit your 3-month goal of saving
Yep.
for your maternity leave in just like 7 weeks. Was it 7 weeks? Yeah.
Yeah, it was earlier. I know like my 3-month goal deadline is not until January 2nd, and I hit it like a couple weeks ago. So,
And what else are you working on?
working on getting a house is a big one.
Yeah.
So, really excited about, getting through this phase of kind of being in a transitional period where like going through the divorce, having the baby, and not really, thinking about where do I want to be long term in life. So, I've been doing lots of house hunting lately, which is
That's
really
cool.
exciting. So once, baby girl is born, then I'm going to really start hammering on that. So,
Did you ever think that single mom life could be exciting when you first became a single mom?
no, especially because I really could not see past where I was at the moment.
Okay.
It was very stressful. It was a lot. And like you said before, time not stopping. I kept feeling like I just need like a month. I just want everything in life to pause so I can like figure it out. And
Yeah.
there's just never that break that you have, especially being a single mom that's working. So, just kind of chipping away at everything was really helpful.
That's good. What else stood out about your metamorphosis, your journey from being a caterpillar, crawling in the dirt, going, there's got to be more to this life, to getting into a cocoon and healing some things in the program, and then setting some goals, and then like, okay, I've got my wings, I'm transforming. Like, what was it that stood out the most for you?
I think the first thing that I felt like, okay, this really works, and I need to just keep applying everything else was owning the first hour of my day.
Oh,
It
okay.
kind of sounded like a crazy concept, to be honest. I was like, I'm pregnant. I have a 4-year-old. I work full time. I'm a single mom. Like, now I'm supposed to find an extra hour. Um,
We do that because we'll explain what for those that aren't in the program, tell them what
yep.
it is so they're not freaked out completely. It's really not that.
Yeah. So it's really not.
Yeah.
But you basically just try to get up a little bit earlier. And I honestly
Mhm.
started with, the whole concept we had of just getting a little bit better every day. So the first
Yeah.
day I was like, I'm going to try for 10 minutes. Like
Yeah.
just get up 10 minutes earlier. And you spend some time in the morning, you write down what you're grateful for. You kind of start just brainstorming, sketching out some ideas of like where you want to go in life, maybe some ideas of how you could get there. And then you spend a little time on yourself. So filling your cup. So I usually chose reading.
Yeah.
And I just, even the first days when I took 5 minutes for myself or 10 minutes for myself, no matter what, I just tried to do it. Um, I just didn't realize it was like having a drink of water after walking the desert for 30 days. I
Yeah.
needed that little boost for myself and just to like give myself a little self care. People say, you can't pour from an empty cup. And
Yep.
I did not realize how empty my cup was before I started doing that. So
Yeah.
that's really where the birth of all the changes began for me. And
Yeah.
that made me really confident in every other thing you said. I didn't care how it sounded. I was like, I'm trying it. I'm doing it. Like this really worked for me. So no matter what you say, I'm doing it. Um, but yeah. So
I
that
love
was a
it.
big thing for me.
That is that's something that I've made a non-negotiable in my life. So I even made like this little journal myself. I printed it out and had it like print from Canva and send it to myself. So I make sure that I fill it out. We write down 10 things we're grateful for every single day. Write down our why. What are we doing all this for? Write down our goals. It gets a little repetitive, but just because it's like I need it in front of me and as a reminder of what I'm working on. And then pathways towards your goals, which is like, okay, I want to increase my income. How the heck am I going to do this? Let me
Mhm.
brainstorm some ideas. And then pick one thing a day to do. And even getting it detailed as you're getting more and more used to waking up and journaling every morning is then I would write down, okay, here's what I'm gonna have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and here's my workout that I'm gonna do that day. And then I would write down and have some time reading something that inspires you, whether it's the Bible or a devotional or another book that you're reading. It's like, okay, just 10, 20 minutes of something good,
Mm-hmm.
because your mind is like jello. You got to put in all the good stuff before it sets.
Yep.
And then the rest of your day works well. I've done this for years, 5 to 6 years. And I think it was the one thing that was huge in my single mom life too, because instead of starting the day late and panicked and overwhelmed with getting, when my kids were little, all three children dressed into daycare on time in order to do a radio show, like, like I had to not have so much chaos. And
Mm-hmm.
this was the way to not, is just getting up early. That's
And
all
I
it
can
is.
totally tell the difference in my day. Like that was
Yeah.
the biggest thing. The days that I took the time to do it, I felt empowered, confident, like
Right.
excited about life. And then if I would miss a day because I overslept, I felt like depleted, drained all day. I just felt like I was struggling. So it was just totally worth it. And it is still totally worth it to get up early and do that
So you're
because
gonna
it
keep
really does
owning.
kind of set the pace for the day.
You're gonna keep doing that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Good.
Yep.
So we've kind of gone through, we talked about how is the help like? We dig into, I debated on different things when I knew I wanted to create a program and a group for single moms to have a really good outcome. I debated on doing one big thing or lots of little things. And
Mm-hmm.
I decided to do one big signature course, which was, I'm going to take you through everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we even talked about co-parenting.
Yep.
How did the relationship with your ex and co-parenting change since you've been in Metamorphosis?
Oh, I think it's gotten a lot better. I mean, him and I are in such a good place, and Metamorphosis really has just given me the tools. It's like I know the things are there. I knew what I wanted for a co parenting relationship, but not really sure how to get there sometimes. And it's given me the tools to remember, to put our child first and different communication techniques, like where I need to make sure I'm taking care of myself, where I need to make sure like we're having clear conversations about how to approach things with our son. So I would say, beforehand, we were kind of not always getting along, not always seeing eye to eye, and things could be very tense between us. And now things are, very good. And even when we don't always agree on everything, but we kind of, well, especially for me, I feel like I can navigate the conversation so much more successfully. And the great thing, too, is the support group that we have in the community with the other single moms. So
Yeah.
a lot of us have experienced the same thing. And it's like, hey, have you ever run into this situation with custody
Hmm.
or this situation with drop off or holidays,
Hmm.
whatever it is? Like,
Hmm.
there's so many resources that we could just, post a question or get some encouragement or even celebrate wins. I know a couple times I've posted in there, hey, I had this really great experience, like with co parenting.
Hmm.
And it's good to have that extra support too.
Yeah. Like in a way, I'm kind of jealous. Like, I was somebody the other day was like, "Oh yeah, because we have this. And when you join, you also get Brave Single Moms VAP for free, and it's like 3 lives a week with Q&As, and then we have our online Slack channel. I call it. It's like the group channel of your dreams for just like a group texting
Yep.
group just for single moms going through stuff, and we don't talk negatively about the past. And
Hmm.
I hear on some of those, oh, like their moms are talking to each other and making friends, and I'm like, I was like, well, I wanted to go too. It's like
Yeah.
but it's exciting.
Yep.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
it
wait a
is.
second. Yeah.
I've had a couple times where I've even, posted something or said something, and some of the moms reach out to me one on one and they're just like, this is so cool, or I was so inspired by this thing that you said. And it just feels good because when I started, I never would have thought that someone was going to be like, I can't wait to get where you are. And like, I'm so inspired by you because I was like, just barely, I felt like I was just
Yeah.
and now to have other people that are just like so encouraging and looking up to me in some ways, like, I can't wait to get to this part of the program. Like, you're doing awesome and cheering me on all the time. It's just really good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm inspired by you. I truly am. So where are you now? How are you
So,
feeling?
yeah, I'm in such a good place. I would say the biggest thing that changed, like if I could pick one word, it's I feel empowered. Before I felt powerless and like kind of hopeless. And now I'm like so empowered. I feel like anything that I want to do in life, like it doesn't matter if I'm a single mom or not a single mom, whatever, like my circumstances can't hold me back. So I think I'm in a really good place. I've already knocked out some goals. I have more goals to achieve. And I feel like the biggest part is I have all the tools and I've been practicing the tools through this program.
Yeah.
So even if, things are going great and then other circumstances come up, which they will, they always do in life.
Yep.
But now I have these tools that I can go back to and always, okay, set your goals, break it down, try to do one brave thing a day, make your pathways, everything like
Yeah.
that I have. I feel like um, I just feel very good and confident about
Good.
life, very excited, very happy. And that
Good.
I actually have the capability now to support other people too. So there was
That's
a
really
while when people would come to me and I'm like, I have too many problems. Like my cup is full. I really want to help you, but like I have no space.
we all have those. That's like, yeah.
Yes.
Everyone, and we're humans. Yeah.
So now I'm like, people come tell me stuff and I'm like, oh, I can help. Like, let me give you a
Yeah.
call or this or that, no matter what the situation is. I just feel like my cup is full enough
Good.
now to pour into others. And that's like a really good place to be back to.
I love that. So what would you say to um a mom that's just maybe newly single mom who's just like, oh my God, what happened? Maybe they're thinking this is the worst thing that ever happened to them.
Yeah.
What would you say to encourage her?
I would definitely say that there's always hope. Nothing is permanent, that your situation probably feels tough now, but that it can always be changed and that you have everything inside of you to make the changes. Even if it doesn't feel that way, everything is already inside of you, and definitely not to go through it alone. I
Yeah.
think, I'm constantly telling people, like, if I didn't have this program, I don't know what I would do because it changed my life so much. I just did a whole 180 since I started. But that there's so many other people and so many resources at your fingertips of other people going through this, people who want to help you. So you just have to be willing to be open minded and like take the leap to try the things that people are sharing with you or the opportunities you have to get better.
Yeah.
So,
And anything else that I didn't ask you that you really wanted to share with a single mom listening, somebody's thinking about, maybe I want to coach. What do I want to do? Is this a crazy thing? Because I feel like I'm making this too long of a question, but I had this realization the other day about how much money I spent on lawyers unraveling my life versus
mhm,
how much I spent on investing in myself. And I was like,
yep,
that number should be flipped.
yes. Yeah, I would definitely say like it's worth the investment. I know I messaged you maybe a month in. I don't know if it was even a month.
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, I just realized that I saved up more than I spent on this program for my maternity leave. So I've already
Yeah.
achieved like return on the investment phase." It's definitely worth it. And I think for me, sometimes you just goal-oriented achiever kind of person, but I was really struggling with the single mom and everything I was going through because it's just a very emotional and personal thing.
Yeah.
So it's okay to need help and it's okay to have someone help keep you accountable and just why reinvent the wheel? I mean, the last thing you need to be doing when you're going through divorce or learning to be a single mom, learning to be a co-parent, like the last thing you need to be doing is going to the drawing board with a blank page and trying to figure it all out when other people have already figured it out for the most part.
Yeah.
So I'm
It's like,
very glad it catapulted me forward.